right now, as we are recording this, it is March 2020, and we are retreating in our homes due to the coronavirus. So we aren't able to have that physical connection. So what can we do?
Well, I know certainly in Ireland we're still let out of our homes. We just have to social distance. There's 2 meters between people. So I think you can even get on the phone and have a virtual coffee with someone. Like it really is making these. My daughters are having virtual play dates with their friends most days. So I think it's following their leads.
Even the kids were so excited yesterday. They were writing letters, running across the road, delivering it into Dave's daughters, and then they were exchanging letters all day long. Elsie got a typewriter, so they're typing. And just simple things like that. There's a sense of belonging, because ultimately we grew up as humans. We evolved. This is one theory anyway, on the savannas of Africa, and we didn't thrive and survive there because we were the biggest or the fastest or the most intelligent. Well, we probably did because we were the most intelligent, but it was our ability to function as a tribe. And if you became isolated, you naturally became lonely, vulnerable, afraid, because there was a tiger or a lion or something going to come and eat you. So it was natural. We have evolved for multiple years to belong and feel a sense.
You didn't answer the question now. The question, I think, to answer the question kind of straight on, I think really, as I said, virtual kind of coffees or whatnot. If whatever country you live in, if you're able to go outside at a social distance and spend time with people. I know I've called into my neighbour and I've sat at least 2 meters apart, and we've sit and had tea and we just chatted and solved it all. We watched the birds, we watched people go by, So I think there is very many ways that you can still interact, but there is that really underlying need within ourselves, within each one of us, to connect to other people. And particularly at a time like this, it probably becomes more aware. People are more open than they've ever been. Like I really, in my whole life, I've never seen every single person I walk past looks at you. They say, hi, we're all feeling vulnerable. We're feeling insecure.
And people asking, are you doing okay?
Yeah, like, stay well tends to be, stay healthy, and there's these kind of beautiful greetings and gestures. So I think everyone's kind of, like, particularly at this time, people are open, they're receptive. You can make some really great connections during this period. I don't know what the criteria is in everyone's country, if you are allowed out or not, and what the social distancing rules are. So I guess you've got to adhere to the government rules, but within that, there is huge opportunities, whether it's virtual,
to connect. Because seldom in I guess society before the corona, people didn't really express vulnerability. We kind of we're living our best life, and you got to be as positive as you can, and put the best side out. But I think in times like this, we're all expressing more vulnerability, and it's easier to connect through vulnerability and honesty.
Yeah, there's a lot less ego, it seems, around. There's a lot less kind of
running away suddenly.
Yeah, you see all these big deal influencer people that are just being normal like everyone else, because everyone's just normal underneath it all.
Oh, totally. And I think social distancing might not be the best word. It's more like physical distancing, because it doesn't mean that you can't be social. You can still be social. I've been having lots of FaceTime video catch-ups with my beautiful friends and things like that. And then, it's just physical. You're physically distancing yourself from people, or leaving the 2 meters in between. So what you've said is so important. Us humans are hardwired for connection and intimacy. It's how we thrive. Look at the blue zones. It's one of the core ingredients for longevity and happiness. But we're up to number 4. What's the fourth one?
A fourth one, I think, is pretty a basic, simple. What one we go with here?
Okay,
okay. It sounds boring and whatnot, but we are actually living within a sleep epidemic nowadays. Like, where 70% of people do not get their at least 7.5 hours sleep in the Western world. So, like, statistically, we've got between 10 and 15% less sleep than our parents or our grandparents did. So, and sleep is, like, as Matthew Walker says, it's like a leaky roof in your house. Like, it will wreak havoc in every area of your house. The same way bad sleep will wreak havoc on every area of your body and your health.
For any man listening, if you get 5 to 6 hours sleep consistently, typically you'll have the testosterone level of someone 10 years older than you. And testosterone, as we all know, is very important for being a man. And it's also important for muscle mass and many other biological functions. For anyone who's interested in weight management, if you typically get 6 hours sleep on any night, the next day you're going to eat 200 to 300 calories more than you normally would. And of those calories, they're typically not the right ones.
And it's the healthy ones.
Because you feel tired, you feel a bit not functioning at your best, and you have a choice between a croissant or a bowl of oatmeal or oats. most people will pick the croissants because it's much easier to get those calories or to absorb that energy. So it's less strain on your body.
But maybe here's like 5 things which we'll always we apply to
another 5 things.
Another 5. So this is 5A. Okay, so 5 things to try to improve your sleep. Point number 1, I think it's about regularity. It really is. It's like people look at us and go, geez, you get up at 5 a.m. You're mad. Like, you must never sleep. It's like, no, I go to bed at 9 o'clock. And I do. Like, I literally, my body at 8:30, I get exhausted. Like, it feels like a bus hits me. I start winding down and I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. Like, and I sleep and I get up at 5 o'clock. But regularity, going to bed and getting up at the same time is so fundamental.
Yeah, we have a circadian rhythm, which is just a fancy word for we've a natural biological system that functions within the 24-hour clock. And the more we go to bed at the same time, we get up at the same time, the easier it is to have a consistently good night's sleep.
And that's easy nowadays because most of us are trapped in our homes at the moment. And like, there's no excuses, but like, it really is so fundamentally important. I see with my cats, like you see with animals, my cats, they're like clockwork. Like, cats can't fucking read the clock, but every morning at 5 a.m, Mia's scratching on the door. Like, she's like she can't read the clock. Like, her circadian rhythm is so in tune. Like, literally within 5 minutes, I can set. Sometimes it's 4:55, sometimes it's 5:10, but she's on the money. Like, so all of this circadian rhythm. And the more consistency you can have with going to bed and getting up at the same time. And that's not saying like sometimes you are going to stay up later and sometimes you are going to lie in or whatnot, but really do your best around this. If you do go to bed a lot later, maybe just have a nap. Just try to have a nap.
Get up at the same time.
Basic simple things. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, I think, is try to have a sleep routine, a bedtime routine. You know, I see it with my own daughters. I've got a routine. It takes about an hour. We kind of read books. I put them in the bath. We might have a foot bath. We take it easy. We put on our pajamas. It takes about an hour. It's a full bedtime routine of trying to actually wind them down. Whereas as adults, you're sitting there, you're watching something on your phone, you're doing whatever, you brush your teeth, you go to the toilet and you get into bed. Like, and it takes 5 minutes as adults. Whereas like realistically, I actively try to cultivate this myself. At 8 o'clock, I turn my phone off. I don't look at screens. I take out my little notebook. I write ideas in my notebook. All the lights are dimmed. I actually read stuff. And then I go to bed at 9 o'clock. And like, I actually have a bedtime routine which tries to wind me down so that when I do get into bed, I'm fucking useless. Like, I'm only good for sleeping, you know.
Point number 3 in terms of sleep.
Point number 3, B5A.
Is that your bedroom should be slightly cooler in temperature. We tend to sleep like as mammals, it was generally temperature that would, the rise in temperature would be when we would wake up, and as it cooled, we would naturally want to go to sleep. So ideally, your bedroom is slightly cooler than the rest of your house. Point number 4 is that our exposure to artificial light. So artificial light, such as in this room here, secrete blue-green spectrums of light, which will reduce or impede our body's production of melatonin, which is our kind of rest and restore or hormone associated with sleep. So the more we can turn off artificial lights and light a candle, the easier it is to have higher melatonin, which means we're more likely to sleep.
And that might sound like really heebie-jeebie, light a candle, light some incense, but really...
But like, even in studies, can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
But even in studies, when people were away from artificial light, like out in nature, typically they go to bed 2 to 2.5 hours earlier than they normally would because their melatonin levels were much higher.
So yeah, I think the essence in terms of sleep is get back to your inner mammal. You know, we have become modernized creatures, products of our society,
that need to be
Western
productive
culture.
We need to be winning, living our best life. Yes.
Yeah, but like sleep is just, you know, I think it's the best thing you can do in terms of health. And even these blue zones, that the longest living, healthiest, happiest people, they typically get between 8 and 9.5 hours sleep, and they have a nap.
Oh, what? And a nap as well?
Yeah, so they're pretty much like kids.
Cats. They're like cats.
No, cats sleep 18 hours a day. But they are like 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
So I think sleep.
Sleep was, okay, so sleep, that was point 4 was sleep.
Oh, and then the last...
point 5, okay, last and final one. And I think people can get caught up with, you know... I think to be healthy, I need turmeric. No, it's kale. No, I need to be mindful. No, I need a meditation. I need a gratitude.
Oh, there he goes.
I'm allergic to cats. I need a gratitude journal, but ultimately everyone probably listening knows someone that's lived to the age of 90. They smoke 20 cigarettes a day. They drank a bottle of...
Okay, they drank a bottle of whiskey. They love gambling. They didn't really live a healthy, happy life, but they had loads of humans around them. They laughed a lot. They had loads of joy. They had purpose. They had meaning. So I think it's not getting obsessed with any of these 5 points which we're giving, because ultimately, like statistically, this is not being pessimistic, we are going to die. That's highly likely to happen
at some point
during our lives. So it's really about not taking it too serious, like really, really taking it easy. Like I've seen myself in my own life when I go to some of the poorest countries in the world. I've seen the most joyous humans, and they've had the least amount of stuff. They've just, like, they're cruising, they're having a gorgeous time. So I think each one of us is on our own little journey. Don't take it serious, you know.
Have a laugh. We're all going to die one day. Let's do our best and let's try to celebrate it together.